Sewer lines. They're all basically the same. It's a pipe going out of the house towards something, whether it's a septic tank or the main sewer in the road. They're going to come in a variety of pipe styles. At least over in Maryland, typically we're going to see anything from terracotta, Orangeburg, cast iron, PVC. Now, you may get some of the other varieties of plastic pipe that are out there, but those are the 4 that we typically will see in our area. Your area may be different. County codes may be different. State codes may be different. So everything we talk about today is going to be in general. So all the people who get fussy about maybe Maryland's doing it wrong, you might be right. We may be doing it wrong in your state, but our state, that's how we do it. So let's talk about sewer lines. When you have your sewer line installed, it should pitch down towards wherever the endpoint is. You want to have it to where gravity is carrying all of the water plus the waste, you know what kind of waste I'm talking about, is going to the sewer line in the road. Sometimes what can happen though is you end up with a defect in the pipe. Maybe they installed it incorrectly. Maybe there's nothing underneath of it. Maybe it's a big air pocket. Maybe what you did was you put a driveway over top of it and you drove a dump truck over top of the system. If you're not properly installing the system, you're going to start running into some problems. In this particular circumstance, what I'm talking about is going to be a belly in the line or the improper pitch, where the pipe's not sloped correctly to where now water is standing in the pipe. Standing water in the pipe can be a very, very leading cause in clogs, but it can also mess up with the discharge of air when you're running water through everything. A lot of times what we run into with bellies is clogs, specifically when you're putting stuff down the toilet like you ain't supposed to be putting down there. Feminine products, plastic, cigarette butts, all those sorts of things, especially then flushable wipes. Do not put flushable wipes in your sewer. You will have problems even if you don't have a belly. With the belly, it's giving resistance to the water flow. When we have our gravity feed system, from the time you flush that toilet, that water is going to fall down the pipe, literally fall down, and then flow out to the road. If you're giving friction points or resistance points, depending on how long your pipe is and depending on how big that belly is, you may not have enough oomph to get the water and all the junk that's coming with it to the main road or to your septic tank. Meaning, now you have a blockage where everything's coming back to your house, and that's never fun. Another common issue that we see is cracks or separations in the pipe. Let's say, for example, that you have terracotta pipe. Usually, it's going to be a bell shape that's kind of plump, that has a piece of the other terracotta side. Usually, terracotta pipe is like a bell shape, and you're going to have the other end of the terracotta pipe slid into it. Sometimes, people would take cement and they would seal around that bell. Most commonly, though, the old school variants of that sewer line, it was never covered up with cement. So usually there was just an open area to where roots and soil could work their way into the pipe itself. Most of our old row homes, most of the older houses in the Baltimore suburbs or even Baltimore City usually will have cast iron pipe in the slab or in the home. And as soon as it gets outside of the home, straight to terracotta pipe, and a lot of the main sewer lines for the city are also going to be terracotta clay. The most common defect we see with that is the separation. So every time the pipe changes, you're going to see that maybe the pipe's up a little bit, maybe it's to the left a little bit, maybe it's to the right a little bit, and you run into the issue of all that toilet paper and human waste could potentially get stuck on that lip, again leading to a clog. Roots will do the exact same thing. Roots are most commonly found in terracotta pipes because, again, they're not properly sealed all the time. So you run into the roots catching debris, physically pulling it and holding on to it, so you get all that nice buildup in that line. You even have the potential for cracks or separations in the pipe when you have cast iron or even ABS. You even have the potential for cracks or separations in the pipe in PVC or cast iron. It's just not as common as terracotta piping. Root intrusion is never fun to play with, and neither is a crack because a lot of times that can lead to a total catastrophic failure of the pipe itself. For example, if we have terracotta pipe, it's just clay, so it's like a clay pot that you would see in a garden. If you hit it with something, maybe a fence, maybe you drive over it, maybe something's going on with the chain or some kind of auger when you're snaking out the pipe, you run the risk of that pipe completely collapsing, and now you have no flow of water. Same goes with cast iron. As cast iron gets older, it gets more brittle. It also starts to kind of shrink in on itself as it starts to age. So now more stuff can get caught in the system. If you're not addressing these problems or looking at these problems, you run the risk of one day waking up and you've got a whole bunch of poo in your basement toilet that you didn't put there on purpose. Yes, I know. Sounds kind of gross. Sometimes you can get really unlucky, though, and if it backs up at the sewer main, it can come back to your house, especially if you're at the bottom of the hill. At my house, I actually am at the bottom of the row right before the manhole, so if something gets stuck in the manhole, it's coming back to me because I'm the lowest one, and it kind of sucks in that situation. So if you have an outside clean out, it may not hurt to leave that lid not all the way on, because that's what I do, because sometimes it's better to have it in the woods than it is to have it in your basement. Good news is, at least in Baltimore County, they'll come fix all that for you if that happens, but you don't want to be in that situation. As a homeowner, you're responsible for your sewer line to the road, or if you live on septic, you're responsible for the whole thing. That's why you want to make sure you look at it periodically, especially if you know you have old pipes. If you have PVC pipe, that pipe's not changing that much. It might have some debris buildup here or there, but if you have cast iron pipe, if you have terracotta pipe, you might want to get somebody to send a camera through that pipe every 5 or so years so that way you can see what's going on. Things do change. I see this all the time, especially with Orangeburg pipe. Orangeburg pipe, basically as it ages, it's going to start to belly and it's going to start to bubble. It'll deform because it's more flexible than the rest of the other pipes. It's also junk, so if you have Orangeburg pipe, get rid of it. But what'll happen is that pipe will move and it'll change. So you may look at it 1 year, come back a few years later to look at it again, and now it's completely different. Similar issue with cast iron and terracotta, but it's most likely going to be stuff getting into the pipe or getting stuck on the pipe, not always the pipe itself. It does happen, but it's not super common. Whenever you have defects, I typically would advise 3 different things. Either A, you jet it out, snake it out, get rid of whatever physical thing's there. B, you fix that one isolated spot. I usually advise against doing that because the amount of time and effort to replace the whole thing, it's pretty similar to just fixing that one spot, unless the distance is super long. For example, if it's a 10-foot run from the house to the road, fixing 3 foot of pipe may cost you almost as much as just doing the entire 10-foot run. But if it's a 200-foot run, that's a way big difference. You might only want to fix that one little spot. Whenever you're getting your sewer evaluated or repairs requested, it's important that you make sure you get a couple different options. You don't always have to just outright replace the whole thing. You can if you want, but a lot of times you'll end up spending more money than you need to. So it's a good idea to, 1, double check, see what your options are, and 2, get another opinion, right? So let's just say that I'm looking at your sewer line, I tell you, hey, sewer line's jacked up, it's full of terracotta, get rid of it. You may not agree with me, you may not like me, or you might want a second opinion. And the smart person always gets a second opinion on a problem, so that way you know for sure that it's a problem. For example, if you keep running into it where you're having to snake out the sewer line every 6 months, 8 months because of tree roots, it may not hurt to go ahead, camera that line, see exactly where that pipe's busted, has the roots, get rid of the tree, right? If you snake it out, get rid of the tree roots might not come back. Now, it does not solve your problem of the crack in the pipe and the root intrusion potentially coming from something else, but it will likely slow everything down. So if you're pinched on money, it's way cheaper to get rid of a tree and it's way cheaper to clean out your sewer than it is to replace the whole thing. There are options, but it's important to make sure you talk to your service provider and the contractor to come up with what are these options, and it's up to you as the homeowner to figure out what's best for your budget, for your house, and for your mental sanity. It's always annoying and it's always a pain to have to do home improvement projects. I empathize with you as a homeowner. But let's go back down to the comments here. Let's take a look as a community, talk to one another, share your experience as a homeowner with your sewer line. What kind of sewer line do you have? Have you ever had to mess with it, whether it's snaking it, cleaning it, jetting it, whatever? And if you've replaced your sewer line, leave a comment below. How much was it for you to get it replaced? How long was it and how much did it cost? Maybe your story, your information can help out the next person with whatever they're dealing with. If you enjoyed this video, as always, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I have more videos posted every day in the world of well and septic. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow.